Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffle, some of a world not beyond. I'm your host, Lexi Old, author of 7 Secret Sources of Inspiration, a snappy guide for creative procrastinators. You join me, as always, or wasn't as always for the past couple of weeks, Kid Native Bloody Elbow, and of Let It Roll podcast, and EUGENE'S Robinson and Frazee.com, and author of Fight Everything You Ever Want to Know Asking. We're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking. Collectively, MMA Pancholes.
And I have to say, man, the absence of the snappy guide for procrastinators, the 7 secret guide, it's making me nervous. Wherever you're sitting now, it's like THX 1138. I'm freaked out. I'm nervous. I'm expecting to get zapped with a bop stick soon. What's going on? Where are you?
I have been evicted from the attic.
It's like you're disembodied, like you're in my mind. It's like you're not even in a place anymore. You're existing in my head.
Well, that's the point.
Yo, right? I find it more intimate. I mean, I feel kind of like Alexi's about to, ask me what I'm wearing, and it's
it's warm. If that kind of room is what you're used to with intimacy, we need to talk about we need to talk about a few things. Oh man, baby, let me turn up that white light.
Well, at $8.99 a minute, you got to work fast, Eugene. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Speaking of working fast, Eugene,
sir.
Your UFC light heavyweight champion and heavyweight champion, Daniel Cormier.
Yes.
How can you be the bull of the woods, live and in public, if you will, with 2 losses to Johnny Boney Johnny, asterisking your ass-kicking legacy?
Yeah, no, there's some people who have been back and forth with me on the tweets saying, oh, he doesn't need to give him any oxygen. That guy's yesterday's news. Yeah, but he's not. That guy is nowhere. He's a fuck up. Yeah, well, whatever. We all know that the oopsie is an extension of what Bukowski used to call the Great American Schoolyard, and nothing will make us unsee those 2 fucking past losses, or the no contest and the justifiable bona fide loss, and nothing will get me, DC, if I am DC in this scenario, to forget that either. So this is, in my mind, this is an actual, like I mentioned on the Show Stomper, this is a really serious harrowing. Like Hamlet says, if they but blench, we know our course. This is an instance in which, we'll separate.
Time. Eugene, do you know another quote from Hamlet? Just
is it not quickly monstrous that this player here should put a fiction and a dream
He's gonna
of
whip
passion,
out all of his
force his soul to his own
yeah, we got okay. You got nothing memorized. I just only heard you quote the one thing.
Alas, poor Nate.
What would he?
I just had to Donna Shalala that Hamlet quote because you use it all the time.
I have. The point is that line, the last line. What would he have? The motive and cue for passion that I have. Cormier, in his dark, quiet moments of the soul, like the guy says in Dirty Harry, he gots to know. He gots to know. No, he said the last one, I almost had him. I almost had him. Otherwise, you end up like Harvey Keitel in The Duelist, wandering the landscape, lost. Do you think, what kind of individual that would be satisfied retiring with a win over Brock Lesnar, maybe a rematch with Stipe, is not the kind of guy who gets to where he's gotten? Now, if you think his team is advising him to not fight a third one with Johnny Boney Johnny, I think you might be wrong too. AKA didn't get to be the winningest team in MMA by just going the okie doke way. Okay, well, we could do strategic picking of fights. No, these are guys. Javier is the kind of guy who, most significantly, I think maybe more so than a lot of other team heads, is caring about guys' heads, And when
time. How many times have you personally visited AKA?
Over 15.
And how many times have you? How many visits have you made to other still active MMA camps?
2 or 3.
There you go. That's all. I just okay. Go ahead. Just wanted that on the record.
The point is immaterial. You can look at teams where they're running guys out into situations that aren't good or healthy for them. We could look at champions who've retired as a result of not having quite the care and concern placed on their well-being that should have been placed for them. The water poisoning that's being accused that Max Holloway got, how'd that happen? Water poisoning? How the fuck that? Who's watching out for you? It's a crackpots and fucking losers sometimes that are surrounding these cats. So the thing is, you know, if a guy, you got to follow the guy's lead. If the guy wants to go out that way, say, look, you know, I'm almost 40. I got kids. I got the commentating deal. I got $3 or $4, $5, $10 million in the bag. I'm saying, you know what? I'm man enough to embrace the fact that I'm not going to beat this guy, and I can live with that. Cool. Good luck. You know, the road not taken, I can deal with that. But I don't believe anybody involved in this picture is that guy, you know. So, you know, and Brock is in the same position as fucking as Johnny Boney Joni. He's got to be 6 months in the testing pool, so puts him at about the same spot, almost relatively. So the thing is, does he take the fight with Johnny Boney Joni? Or does he fight Brock Lesnar? Nobody believes that Brock Lesnar is going to beat him. It'll be a good show, but it'll be a beating. And I don't even doubt that Stipe could, if I'm DC in this instance, if Stipe has what you need in here to come back and take it from me again. So all that leaves is a heavy Johnny Boney Joni, against which I might have a better chance than a light Johnny Boney Joni. If I'm him, I take that fight 100 times out of 100 times.
What about you, Nate?
I'm having this sort of weird thing where, did Eugene actually answer the question as framed? Just, Alexi, did that just happen?
He did. He did answer it.
Okay, because
he was going through other analysis as well and answering.
See, Nate's been on vacation so long, he's forgot about the rhythms and the tone and the timbre.
Well, also another thing is like the sharpness that's required to be on this show.
Yes,
know?
Correct.
That's why to be on it, you know,
to
watch it, you know, it's not for everybody because not everybody can like focus in and have this kind of focus.
Some say there's ring rust, but others say no. Yeah, I mean, Eugene pretty well covered it. The other factor he didn't hit is that the biggest fight Cormier has ever been anywhere near, and also the biggest fight John Jones has ever been anywhere close to, was against Jones versus Cormier, Cormier versus Jones. That's where the money is. These guys, they're married. I'm sorry. And even though most rubber matches are after they've split the first two, with Jones's various disgraces and Cormier getting this pretty immense win over the heavyweight champion, it sets things up beautifully. And if he gets a big win against Brock Lesnar, I mean, even though everybody who actually watches MMA knows it's not a big win at all, it's the closest thing to a gimme in the heavyweight division, but it'll be a big fight. It might even break 500,000 buys.
Hey, did you see Snowden's tweet?
I saw the Dave Meltzer report it was based off of. Huh? How's that?
Damn.
How's that?
What? Tell people what it is.
Estimated 400,000 buys, which back in the day was, you know, like when Rich Franklin fought. I mean, you know, like when the least prestigious belt was on the line, that they would get 400. I mean, a big time fight, the big July 4th fight. I mean, Lesnar got over 1 million against, was it Mir? The second match with Mir was in July. I mean, there's a ton of famous summer UFC matches, and they put everything they had into this one. And it's getting to the point, you know, where it's like this.
Hold on, my wife is trying to say something to me.
Your wife is trying, and so we have to interrupt the show for this.
Yeah, because she's talking. I can't hear both you.
You can take the headphones off and listen to your wife, or mute yourself, or mute me. The audience needs Kid Nate. And now you totally threw me off my point. It's like you disrupt this guy a couple times, and he has to come right back. It's petty. It's
you were making
this is exactly the reason. Look,
you were making a good.
This is the perfect.
I was making a good
example why if DC fights Johnny Boney Joni, he needs to get Johnny Boney Joni as soon as he's like the first fight back, as soon as he can, ring rust, take advantage of mistakes, right? If he had fought him, you know, that's what he needs to do. Just like how, Nate, all these errors that Nate would not have made had he, stayed on with the show.
Yeah.
I was fouled.
I've actually done the show from Copenhagen,
I see.
from the Riverside and Lyon.
Fouled.
Now you're telling me I can't shoot. I've done the show all over.
Change things up. I changed my background. I changed the lighting. Eugene has his wife interrupt. Like, this is all about this. He goes on multiple tangents more than he normally does. This is all to get you off your game.
I know. That's why I came out aggressive with the timeouts and interruptions, just to throw him off.
I really want you to finish your point, though, because it was a good one.
Well, the UFC knows the most money is in that fight. So, and those guys know it too. I mean, as much as Jones and Cormier may not like each other, they have a lot of interests aligned. It reminds me of Ken Shamrock and Tito back in the day. I mean, these guys know where the big money is to be made. I think the whole problem is there's a 6-month lag with Brock. There's at least a 6-month lag with John Jones. I'm calling it now. Cormier is going to fuck around and lose either the light heavyweight or heavyweight belt before he can do one of those big money matches. If he fights, if he doesn't wait 6 months to fight.
That's a bold prediction. I like it.
That's what I'm known for.
Who did he say? He said he was going to go drop back
Shogun
down to lightweight.
I mean,
that's a ridiculous. First of all,
that is at least a safe.
He needs to, build up his weight. He's not actually fighting at his natural weight class. He was at a disadvantage.
Based on how much what he has to put himself through to lose this weight, and the fact that at 400,000 buys against Stipe, they can expect 0 against fucking Shogun. I don't see that as something that
doesn't make any sense. See, I think that if he has to, though, the fact is he is months away. You're talking about 6 months away from Lesnar. Hopefully, no longer than 6 months away, possibly from Johnny Boney Joni. Right, or however long after the Lesnar fight is. He has to answer why he is still the Bull of the Woods despite those losses. I say he needs to blame PEDs and PDDs. Popeye's deficit disorder, baby. Before he went to light heavyweight, he was rocking and socking him, ragdolling Josh Barnett. The weight cuts took a lot out of him. He didn't have his power.
I like this.
He has big belly, big boy power. He needs to be able to relax. And so that's why you can't really count those. If you want to look at light heavyweight, but he was fighting a light heavyweight so he didn't have to face his friend, Cain Velasquez. That was him doing the honorable thing by his friend and by his camp. He was hurting himself. We saw what happened against Stipe. Imagine if he had that force and power against Johnny Boney Joni. See, he needs to talk that up so people start wondering, is that possibly true? And even if they don't believe it, we don't know because we've not seen him fight Johnny Boney Joni at heavyweight.
And also,
he knocked out Bigfoot Silva. He was knocking fools out.
And rather than looking at this like this is a gimme for Johnny Boney Joni, people need to look at it the other way around. I mean, there are no warm-up fights for Johnny Boney Joni when he comes off of whatever deal he's got going with the USADA. I mean, it's not like he gets to. It's like he has to. There's not like he gets to fight Curtis Blades and warm up or somebody like no he's got to. He's got to fight. They can't fuck around. Given the price tag that Johnny Boney Joni is demanding and it should justifiably get, there are no warm-up fights for this guy because you don't know what the fuck he's going to do before the real one, So he has to fight somebody who could really fucking murk him in there. And, is that punishment or a reward? It depends on how he does, I guess, right?
It's also a true test because if he loses a DC and he doesn't fail a drug test, he's able to rebound. He could get very easily at the rematch. Hey, look, it was my first fight at heavyweight. I was coming back. I had ring rust. Give me some time to adjust and let's see if it happens again. It's automatic. Like if DC wins that fight at heavyweight, automatic. I don't think anyone will question, even if a Boney Joni gets murked within the first 20, 30 seconds, not likely to happen. But if that happens, still you wonder, well, wait a second. Come on, man. This guy had ring rust. He hadn't fought at that weight before. He hadn't made the adjustment. So it's just such a natural thing to do.
And it's a wonderful, I mean, we're talking about MMA Fantasy League. It's a wonderful MMA Fantasy League ending, man. I mean, you know, fucking Cormier wins, fucking retires, goes off into the sunset. Johnny Boney Joni gets the benefit of the 2 prior wins, and of course goes into his next matchup depleted. So you get some fucking action against whoever he chooses to fight. He's fucking, I can't really hang at the heavyweight. I go back down to light heavyweight. The invincibility aura is gone. You got real action, or he stays at heavyweight. However, if Johnny Boney Joni wins, it's revivifying either way, you know.
Yep.
I just got to add for the record, you're wasting your breath talking about scenarios where DC beats Jones. I mean,
right. Where DC beats Jones.
I don't know, man. Don't underestimate the power of Popeyes. Do not.
Has his number.
You get the red beans and rice.
Well,
more collard greens.
Yeah, you're number 2.
That's so. I'm telling you.
Here's Jones coming up to Popeyes calling for DC. Number two.
Well,
huh?
I think you're right. We've talked about the power of the head, and we know going into it, the guy's going, oh God, go ahead. Don't let this happen again. Oh God, instead of focusing on the game. And, you know.
Plus, the manner in which Jones beat him in both fights, I mean, he crushed him. He hurt him.
What happened in the first one?
DC's going to crush those biscuits. What you talking about?
The first one was the one.
He's going to be ready to go. You're like,
you're trying to
be like Link in Breath of the Wild.
Alexi, you've got to disclose when you take sponsorship money. So it's time to fess up the
or spread the wealth.
I would proudly disclose a Popeyes sponsorship. I'd proudly make the material disclosure. And I will proudly take some money when they make money sponsoring DC.
Let's see. The first Jones fight with Cormier is when Jones surprised him by going for the takedowns and beating him at wrestling.
Right, that's right.
The second one was with the vicious knockout.
Yeah, the kick. Yeah, that I remember this more recently.
But both of those, even though Cormier, especially in the first fight, got his licks in, both of those were pretty soul-crushing defeats. I mean,
he didn't seem close either one, is what you're saying.
There were moments when he could have won the fight or had the advantage.
In the second one, he actually had some. He was doing a lot better in the second fight. I think anyone did.
Well, even in the first fight, I think there was a round or two where he was closer. But either way, after both fights, it was very clear who won. And
was the first fight a decision? Jesus Christ!
It was a decision. It was a decision.
That's right. Yep.
Because DC kept on trying to get the takedown, trying to get the takedown. It was almost like a who's that dude I already forgot about? Was it Damian Maya. It's like, takedown. I'm going to try to take you down. I finally took you down.
There's a big difference, right? Because this goes back to their personal history about the takedown things. He was trying to fucking make a point. Now you got to get off of that shit, which is how I know very precisely he will take a third fight. You know, look, at this remove of however many years, Frazier and Ali, I'm not saying they're friends, but they look back on their history with some sort of significance, right? So, well,
they're both dead.
Well, hold on. Fuck. What the hell?
In the spirit world,
man, I've been taken away. When did Frazier die?
Yeah, I thought Frazier's still alive. Did he?
Is he? Or was it his son that died? Nah, Jeff Frazier's dead, man. I think like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah.
November 7th, 2011. Frazier died. I mean, I wrote a
man. What did he die from?
He was old. He was a boxer.
No, he wasn't that old. He wasn't.
For a boxer in boxer years, dude was.
You said November 2011.
Wow. I don't know. He was a baby boomer. He was.
So am I. That's why I'm asking.
He was 67 years old, Pops.
67. So, okay, buddy. We're about 10 years.
12 years left, baby.
Yeah, he put a few more miles on him. On himself.
But anyway, in their dotage, that was something that they, we did something together. The most important period. You were the most important person in my life for a period of time, and there's some sort of significance. I'm not saying that these guys are going to be friends, but Foreman, Ali, by the end,
it's great. It'll be a great thing if they're able to fight at a different weight class too, because that also makes it even much more of a greater rivalry.
Right.
Because all those guys you talk about, they fought at the same weight class. Like to say, I'm following you throughout your weight classes.
It's a great story. I mean, people, the cheap seats loved Lesnar being in there. WWE fans loved Lesnar being in there. The few people at the wine bar, because they weren't I got the prime seat at the wine bar on Saturday because people weren't there. The serious heads, I had a couple of famous MMA journalists watching there with me. We just kind of looked at each other like, okay, all right, bro, whatever, man. You know, you do. And Dana's the bald one's so happy. He's there. It's like, okay, fuck.
And then you had a hearty laugh at all those kids who still believe in Santa Claus because we know better. And yeah, I mean, everybody
I don't know, man. I don't want to spoil anybody's fun. Enjoy it while you can, but I like Curtis Blade's take on it. Did you see it? His tweets afterward.
Yeah.
It's like what? I mean, he was having an existential crisis watching that shit. The fuck am I doing here? What am I doing here?
Man, well, speaking of crises, Nate, you're the UFC. How do you handle Max Holloway and inevitable CTE scares from damaging your brand any further that's already damaged?
They have tried and tried, and it's one of these situations where the more that they try to improve fighter health and reduce the number of fights that get canceled, the worse they make things. I think the change in the weight cutting time, weigh-in time, was a clear attempt to eliminate or reduce dramatic weight cuts and improve the health of the fighters. It has not resulted in – it's resulted in a lot more fights not being made, and I think has damaged fighter health. Plus, bringing in USADA or WADA, whichever one, I can't remember, but bringing those guys in to change the drug testing so that a lot of the diuretics, a lot of the other things that guys use to help themselves make it through weight cuts were eliminated. So it's got the synergistic effect. Change is bad. Dudes are endangering themselves further and further. So I think that the PR case is to do more shit like that. Oh, well, we're doing this. We're bringing in these doctors. We're doing that test, But they're not thinking. They're thinking these things as PR moves, not thinking through necessarily, and it might not even be possible to think through what the ramifications actually are. I don't think anybody could have predicted that if you changed the weigh-in times, that it would dramatically increase the number of canceled fights and possibly be hurting fighter health, because it shouldn't be. It should be better. Like when Dana White tried to change it or floated the idea of changing it, and the majority of fighters were against it and prefer the earlier weigh-ins, it's still fucking things up. And so I think the PR advice is do something. I think they're going to do something, and I think it will only muddle things further. Long term, this is probably the biggest iceberg floating out there in the waters the UFC is sailing in, just like it's disastrous for the NFL or college football or pro wrestling for that matter, definitely boxing. They can either do that or they can make their monthly payment to the CTE as a hoax crowd, the same people that told us how we couldn't prove cigarettes cause cancer and how we can't prove that human beings cause climate change. They're out there. They can spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt and confusion and muddy the water. So that would be my advice. Do both.
What about you? Okay, hold on. Because he caught me right there at the end. I was agreeing until the end. What was the premise again? Refresh me.
Premise is you're the UFC. The question or what his?
Yeah.
The question is, you're the UFC. How do you handle Max Holloway and inevitable CTE scares from damaging your brand any more than it's already been damaged?
Well, you see, it's like RoboCop. They're doing it already. Don't worry, they'll fix it. They fix everything. Did you see how the narrative has switched today? Right. At first, everybody's sending me. I couldn't even watch it. People are sending me clips of the Holloway interview, and I know it's going to be like, fucking pencils in a tin can, sad. Joe Louis in the men's room with a towel, sad. I know I can't watch it, so I haven't watched it. But then something happened today, and I'm looking at MMA Fighting or some of the other so-called MMA journalists, and I see that what they're talking about is water poisoning. We have friends in newspapers. They might like a story like that. Water poisoning. It wasn't the shots to the head because his training camp, it's not that kind of training camp. It was the water that he took. He drank too much water, which causes symptoms that are very similar. They're fixing everything. CTE, Yeah, there are guys that might have it. Show us one. As long as you got Chuck Liddell on Dancing with the Stars, you got Tito on his TV shows, and Randy in the Expendables 18. These guys are fucking outliers. And Mark Kerr, he's gonna an example, that drug addict. The reality of it is, if you look at all the guys who have fought, got in some YouTube loop today and happened to be watching little snippets of old Ultimate Fighter shows. And it was a pretty significant one where Conor McNuggets was talking to his team, and he was like, look, this team concept in this sport is fucking bullshit. It's you and your brand, and if you don't care enough about you, I'm sorry, I can't coach that into you, because right now, what I care about is me and my progress. So I can give you some advice that help. I can bring in coaches that might take, but to teach you how to become a champion, you either are or you're not. I can't teach you. It's like teaching somebody to be a goat. And I was like thinking, fuck, the machinery here, all these guys on the show, I'm looking at these faces. I don't know a single one of them.
Yep.
Not because I haven't paid attention since then, but because these guys appeared in the show, and like other reality stars anywhere, they go, into like that Bad Religion record, out of the unknown, was it into the unknown and back into the unknown? It's not, man, oh man, CTE is really the least of the trouble, right? So right now, I think, like Nate said at the end, the CTE is a hoax crowd. Well, not in football, it's not. But if you're going to try to drag out cases of CTE in boxing or MMA, you're going to be hard pressed to find them. You know why? Precisely why there are no deaths in the ring in Muay Thai in Thailand. You know why? Because they drag them out of the ring so they can die on the concrete outside. They don't actually die in the ring. You see, they fix everything. Unless you have a guy die in the cage, which has not happened yet, and you'll notice when somebody gets seriously hurt enough so they're not ambulatory. Have you noticed the stagecraft that goes on to prevent you from being exposed to that? Oh, not if it's one doctor, you'd still be able to see, but it's the TV cameras, it's the support staff. They want to give him privacy. Really, they want to give him privacy? If I get into a fucking car wreck and a crowd forms around me, everybody says, give him air. What happened? Oh, privacy? Which is it? So,
Well, see, they got special air with the people that are around blowing their oxygen.
Right. Yeah, my great-grandmother had a great, wonderful saying that because it's become part of family lore, one monkey don't stop no show. So sorry to say, or like let's go back to the beach at Normandy, where the guys were nervous and scared, and General Patton came in and said, look, guys need to relax, okay? Only 2.7% of you, only 2.0% of you will die. Guys were like, shit, I'll play those odds. Fuck, I'll play those odds. And in the end, when they analyzed the dead at Normandy, you know what they discovered? 2.7 had died. Pretty close. That means almost 97% made it, storming the Nazi pillboxes. So the reality of it is, yeah, it would be nice if they cared, but they don't care. If they cared, they would have started caring with boxing, and nobody cared about boxing either.
We do care about kids.
The success stories outweigh the failure stories, even though the failure stories are fucking way more numerous. They just don't get the right press.
And with that, the disruption to Kid Nate continues.
For the record,
what's going on in your heel turn?
Eugene's great-grandmother did not coin "One Monkey Don't Stop No Show." That's way further
You missed
back.
the point. I didn't say she coined it. I said she used it.
Oh, I see. Well, whatever.
It was Dusty Rhodes that coined the phrase.
Yeah.
Lay in the same bed, because that's where the boogeyman's going to get you. In the same bed.
The heel turn was revealed in a Sports Business Journal article that came out this week, and it was talking about the negotiation battles between ESPN, Fox, WWE, and UFC. They moved, and MSNBC, Universal, which had WWE. But so to summarize for those of you who don't know what happened, UFC moved from Fox to ESPN. WWE moved from USA. Part of their roster moved from USA to Fox. Sports Business Journal got the behind-the-scenes skinny on what went on, and the heel turn came when it was revealed that at one point Ari Emanuel of WME Endeavor, who owns the UFC, was representing Vince McMahon in his negotiations with all the networks. And like the fact that Vince McMahon was cool with that was just crazy pants. But it turns out the heel turn came when multiple network executives said, no. Ari Emanuel has too much power in this situation when he's representing two competing entities. Of course, if he had been representing both of them, they wouldn't have been competing. They would have been cooperating. And so these mean executives spoiled Ari's party, made him bring in the hated Creative Artists Associations, the total rival of WME, to handle the negotiations. It all went to shit from UFC's perspective. They got run out of Fox. They had to go to ESPN for everything without a competing bid. ESPN competed for half the package, but then by the time the second half came up, UFC didn't have anywhere else to go. So they sold it at a discount, all because a few executives had to basically strike break, union bust, break up, the fighting working man, Ari Emanuel and Vince McMahon and Dana White, trying to do something as a team, and the man divided, conquered, heel turn.
And executives, if you wanted to negotiate with us, you wouldn't have those kinds of problems at all. Just saying. Mm-hmm. What about your Lost Battalion, Eugene?
It's complicated. It is super complicated because on the one hand, a very simple answer would be to give very simple but yet painful answer would be to give to tell you Sage Northbutt. What? Sage Northbutt. What? Sage Northbutt. What? Say, I don't know if you follow Sage Northbutt on the Twitter, but he's like he's flying off somewhere to do something, and he's putting up showing what he's eating and how ripped he is, and it's kind of like the painful thing of like a child of a neglectful parent, and the kid realizes I got to do all this stuff to get dad's attention, and he's like, Dad, look, I can tap dance. Dad, look, I can tap dance and play the trumpet. Dad, I can spin the plates and tap dance and play the trumpet. And the dad's like, yeah, kid, yeah. I mean, whatever love they once had for that kid is clearly fucking gone. It's clearly gone. That's the easy answer. He's at the head of a group of people that I could click off like that. The complicated answer, and it's almost quasi non-LB, is where Stipe is right now. This is a hard fucking reality. Talk about Harvey Keitel in The Duelist, and I kind of touch on it on the Show Stomper. Where does the road turn for this cat now? He's got one place to go and one place to go only, and that's fucking DC, and that's not a gimme. That's not a gimme, especially with that thing crawling up the back of your neck. They're going, oh shit, what if again? What happens to me again? I mean, he was literally probably about 4 or 5 fights away from comfortably retiring, right? Defend, do some appearances, finally, got paid what I'm supposed to get paid, gonna have the kid, I'm gonna be a father and do this, and now there's a shit in the center of the cake, or somebody left it out in the rain, depending on whether you're a fan of Richard Harris. So, I mean, this guy, when I think about him, as I've thought about him since Saturday, I can't imagine that neither fish nor fowl sensation. It's damn near close. I mean, the thing is, being in the Lost Battalion has to do with a certain lack of awareness. But what if you're aware that you're in the Lost Battalion? What if you're aware that no matter which way you go, you're surrounded by missed and impossibility? It's not a relaxing place to be, right? It's not even Event Horizon, because that's premised on the next thing. This is the last thing after which there's nothing else. No,
I have a name for this phenomenon.
Give it to me, because it's killing me.
Nicole's husband. Do you remember The Others? When Nicole Kidman was the mother, she had the kids in the dark house, and her husband comes back from the war.
Yes.
He knows the deal. He doesn't tell her, but he knows the deal.
Because they're all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
she killed him, and
right.
he knows, and he's
That's
sad about it, but he's still going to sleep with her and say hi to the kids before he goes on his merry way. So this is Nicole's husband.
Right, Nicole's. Yeah, that's
Utterly impotent to change the scene, but aware.
Yeah, that to me, I used to think Event Horizon was like akin to drowning, where you know there's going to come one last breath, and once that does, you're expired. But that seems also relaxing compared to this. I've been trying to put myself in Stipe's head since then. Like Monday at work had the fucking suck, right? He's joking. Yeah, when I showed up the other day, when I won, they gave me the plunger. Not so funny now, huh? Not so funny this fucking Monday, getting that plunger and having to go clean out the toilet in the fire station, huh? Not so great. And what are you gonna do? Dude retires on you, you're fucked. You know, you are absolutely positively fucked. Guy, you fight the guy again and you lose a second time, you're fucked. You fight anybody else, it's completely pointless and worthless. It is like that horrible sensation you get when you're playing chess, where the only way out is to throw all the fucking pieces on the floor, throw the board over, accuse the other guy of cheating, and run from the room. It's a lot to think about. And that's probably why I'm still paying attention to what now clearly is a desperate sporting endeavor. I mean, I don't know if you felt it, but me and everybody else in the Twitterverse, we're sitting there fighting, we're tweeting each other, and it just felt sad to me.
I woke up several times in the middle of the co-main event with this horrible feeling of, wow.
Yep. Yeah. You know, I mean, the good thing is at least I had some cough syrup with me because I got a cold, you know.
Yeah. Did y'all see the Bloody Elbow Twitter feed when we asked people to tweet photos from the bars and the parties that they were at?
That was great.
The dude tweeted the picture of his dog sleeping in front of his big screen, and that was it.
Yeah.
Just him.
I remember the
sleepy dog.
picture of the girl doing the drinks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, wait. Time out. You got to plug the new thing.
Yes.
People.
This is big news.
Yes. We need people to pick out their favorite moments for the show from this episode and past episodes. If there was a particular moment that made you laugh or you were in awe of our insights and wisdom, please note the time and what it was in the comments on YouTube, or tweet at us, or put it on the comments at bloodyelbow.com. And go back to old episodes. We're going to be going back through old episodes, so put it in the comments if there's a moment from a particular old episode you really loved. The person who gives us the coolest stuff gets a T-shirt.
Well, he's got to say it again with a certain air of authority, because you just did like a throwaway thing, like, ladies and gentlemen, right now we're announcing for the first time, If I Did It contest. You pick the best clips, no matter when the show was, going back as far as it went, and you send it to Kid Nate, because I'm not going to do shit with it.
Don't send it to me. Put it in the comments, because
put it in the comments.
Very helpful is going to be checking this and
the funniest, the most trenchant, the most emblematic, the most confusing. Put it in a clip. Why? Well, we're doing something special, and if you win it, you get a special gift.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us. Please follow the advice and follow us on Twitter, where you can put said recommendation at EUGENE'S Robinson, Alexi Old, Kid Named, at Facebook, MMA Pancholes. Eugene, please give a thumbs up. Leave comments on YouTube, including what Nate and Eugene asked about your favorite clips. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Buy 7 Secret Source Inspiration. Buy Axpo's Thin Black Duke and Boonwell's Easy Way Out, wherever fine music is sold. And listen to Let It Roll podcast. And immediately following the show, you check out The Shoes Fit. How do you do that, Eugene?
Right below this picture, right below this finger, there's going to be a link if Kid Nate did the right thing. And you click on that.
This time, I swear.
Yeah, and it'll click into the other show, and we'll log out and log back into the other show. It'll take us about 90 seconds, and the fun will continue, except outside the world of MMA, because you guys started complaining too much, so we had to separate inside MMA and outside MMA for you simpletons.
We'll be back next week and uninstall If I Did It. We don't know what we're going to talk about yet because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.
Okay, so the link doesn't work, but I'm going to fix it real quick.